Hi, in this video I will show you the different ways to thread your needle and how to make the process easy. Often the threads are limp and threading it this way will not bring you any success. So here we go. The first method is probably the most used. It is also the method I would ask you to practice. Look at this thread. It is the regular stranded embroidery cotton floss. I'm using 3 strands to show you the threading method here. The ends of the thread could be frayed, so the first thing to do is to cut and make them even. Now, you can cut it at an angle to give it an arrow-like shape. It is okay to cut straight too. The idea is to remove frayed ends and keep them neat and even. Then you can give the end a quick lick to moisten it. Moistening the ends will keep the strands together and help us pinch and give it a thin shape that will help pass it through the needle's eye. After pinching, hold the tip of the thread between your finger and thumb. It should sort of just peek through it. Bring the eye of the needle closer and pass the tip through the eye while you either push the needle further or open your fingers pushing the thread further, whichever works for you. Let me show you one more time. I pinch the thread, hold it between my fingers, push the needle to the thread, and push the needle to the thread and pull the thread out. That is it. Now let me show you this method with pearl cotton thread. This is pearl cotton number 8. Since pearl cotton is not stranded, I prefer to give it an angled cut to make the tip sharp. See that? I then moisten the tip of the thread, hold it between my fingers, and push it into the eye of the needle. And that's it. I'll do that just one more time. There you go. And that's how you would normally thread your needle. Licking your thread might not seem a great idea to some of you. It might not even work for some of you. So here are a few other things you can try. Use a wet kitchen paper towel to moisten the end of your thread. It works. I have flattened the thread to make it thin and get it ready to put it through the needle. Here, let me show that. You can also use beeswax to slide the end of your thread and stiffen it. I'm using an old candle. See how the wax got onto the thread? The tip is stiff too. Now pass it through the needle and it works perfectly. Now, if none of what I showed until now worked for you, take the help of a simple tool called the threader. In fact, I think every stitcher must have one threader handy. This threader is very basic and is made of a metal wire that can easily pass through most of the needles. So, to thread, you would pass the threader wire through the eye of the needle. Like this. There are different kinds of threader. Some of them are just tiny hooks that would hook the thread. Let's try this for a regular stranded cotton embroidery floss. I push the threader through the needle. Then I pass the thread through the threader. Next, pull out the threader. It will pull out the hand embroidery thread through the eye of the needle along with it. And voila! It works the same way for pearl cotton. This is what I suggest to very young or some older students who find threading without any tool dreadful. Now let us try this method with a thicker thread like wool. I push the threader further into the needle to create more space for the thread. The thread is too thick to pass through. So, using the threader works only if the thread is small enough to pass through the eye of the needle. You cannot force a thick thread through it. If you do not have a threader with you, don't worry. I will show you a couple of ways to thread your needle. The first method is using cellophane tape. Tape around the tip of your thread just once. Place the thread on the tape and just fold it. Now, cut the excess tape out. If you want, you can give the tip a sharp and angled cut. The tip of the thread is now stiff. Go ahead and thread your needle. Perfect. Let us try that for the pearl cotton. I'm not cutting it at an angle as it is small enough to pass through the needle anyway. Now, let us use this method for the thick thread, wool. Remember, we were not able to use the threader successfully? Wow, it works perfect. Wow, it works perfectly. I like this method. It would have been frustrating to get this wool through the small eye otherwise. Now, you can do the same thing with a small piece of paper. Fold the piece of paper sharp. Place the end of the thread in this fold and cut out the excess. Cut it thin enough to pass through the eye of the needle. And now take it through. Voila, it worked! Tapes and papers are something you could find around your house normally, and so if you don't have a threader, you can just use these hacks to thread your needle. I hope you enjoyed them. Now, there is a method I often see in various videos, but not sure how it really works with hand embroidery threads. Let's try it. I'm using the sewing thread to understand this method. I place it in my hand. I hold one side between my finger to control it better. Now I place the needle at an angle over the thread. Do not place the needle horizontally or vertically straight over it, but at an angle. Start rubbing over the thread. Like magic, you will see the thread pass through the eye. Crazy, right? Now, let us see how it works for hand embroidery threads. This is pearl cotton number 8. I place it on my hand and rub the needle. But nope, it is not working. My thread is getting worn out. Now I try the stranded cotton. I know using one strand might work, but let's just do 3 strands. Nope, it is not working for me. Please let me know if it has worked for you in the comments. I think this works only for sewing threads. It is a fascinating way to thread your needle. This last method is for those who use wool for embroidery. The tip of wool thread can be difficult to tame. Whether I lick, damp, or wax, the tips don't really agree. So I use the fold method. I believe this works for any thread of this kind. Turn your thread around the needle. Pinch it between your fingers and pull out the needle. Do not leave the pinch. The thread is now folded and peeking through the fingers. Now use the pinch method where you bring the needle to this folded bit and push it through the eye. Yes, it works. So, these were a few methods that I think you could try for threading your needles. I hope you enjoyed learning from this video. If you did, please let me know. If you want to support me in making more videos like this, please check the description for details. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your hand embroidery projects.